The COVID-19 pandemic has turned thousands of children in Malaysia into orphans.
Anak-anak ini adalah yang menjadi yatim dan yatim piatu kerana wabak COVID-19.
4,422 murid sekolah di bawah Kementerian Pendidikan KPM telah kehilangan ibu bapa atau penjaga akibat COVID-19.
In order to care for its orphan children, Malaysia has its own government orphanages. It is called Rumah Kanak-Kanak in Malay, or Children's Home in English. It is defined as an institution that gives substitute care and provide healthy physical, emotional and mental growth within the harmonious family environment. However, that hasn't always been the case. When she was sent to a government orphanage at the age of 12, Shuhada was promised that her statelessness will be resolved. But when she had to age out of the institution, the problem persisted. The management had apparently overlooked her case.
Macam kita cakap, awak dah tak ada kena-mengena dengan institusi. Jadi kita tak boleh nak bantu awak. So dia orang cakap, buatlah sendiri. Saya pun tak ada fail awak.
The lack of an identification card made it difficult for Shuhada to get a job. Without a job, she has no money.
Duit tak ada, tempat tinggal pun macam saya keluar tu bukan saya hidup dengan baik lah. Saya kenal dengan orang yang jual dadah. Saya kenal dengan orang yang jual orang, and saya pun masa tu memang hampir dijual. Dia sendirilah yang mengaku. Dia cakap masa tu aku memang dah nak jual dah kau. Dia cakap macam tu. Dia memang dah nak jual. Masa saya duduk dengan dia, dia ada bagi saya duit 500. Seminggu akan bagi 500 sebab saya tak boleh kerja. Bila dia bagi, seminggu tu dia datang jumpa saya lagi. Cakap, ada lagi duit? Ada. Dia cakap, aku kalau bagi dekat perempuan lain duit, dah habis dah. Kau buat apa dengan duit tu? Saya tak ada buat apa, abang nak ke duit tu? Saya tanya. Tak nak, pegang je. Lepas tu dia bagi lagi saya. Saya pun tak tahu nak buat apa tau dengan duit tu. Masa tu dia cuma dudukkan saya dekat rumah tumpangan yang macam hotel bajet lah macam tu. Dia suruh saya duduk situ. Tapi dia tak pernah lah buat apa-apa dekat saya atau ajar saya. Dia cakap benda yang aku buat ni salah, aku tahu. Tapi jangan ikut, dia cakap macam tu.
Sensing her desperation for an IC, the drug and human trafficker who took her in offered Shuhada a helping hand.
Dia cakap, aku ada je orang yang boleh macam buat kau lahir semula. Maksudnya bukan nanti kau akan dapat IC, tapi chip tu lah. Kan ada chip kan, benda tu kan masa tu tengah heboh yang diorang ada chip palsu lah apa tu. Lepas tu kena tangkap dengan polis. So saya fikir saya tak ada siapa-siapa. Kalau saya kena tangkap, siapa yang nak tolong selamatkan saya? Saya kata saya tak nak.
Orphans aging out of children's home with unresolved statelessness is not uncommon.
And also another problems that we always face with the government institution is that those children that are under their care in the institution, they haven't got their citizenship clear. Mainly because they're saying that there is no documentation. Of course, you know, you understand the history. These are the babies that has been abandoned by the mother, and you know they pick it up at all kind of unsafe places. Sometimes they just leave them at the bus stations or at the malls, etc. I don't think the mother are leaving documentations, their birth cert or whatever there. So to me, it becomes a responsibility of the institutions to work out proper documentation for these children, because without proper documentation and citizenship, some of these children end up not being able to go to schools and having problems getting medical services from the government clinics and so on. After 18, if they have not settled their documentation, so how would you imagine them to continue their life, Plus that they have no one to refer to in this world because their life all the while has been with the institutions. So who do they talk to? That actually make many of them end up in gangsterism or prostitution just to survive.
Cik Asma is indeed correct. There are other orphans who have suffered way more hardships because of their unresolved statelessness. And after 4 years of convincing, one of them had decided to tell me how she ended up in a prostitution ring.
Hari terakhir saya dekat institusi tu, saya tanya dah siap ke belum kad pengenalan, tapi mereka kata tak ada, tak sempat nak buat. Masa saya minta kad pengenalan tu, mereka kata mereka tak boleh buat sebab mereka kata saya tak ada surat beranak. Dan waktu tu baru saya dapat tahu yang sebenarnya mak saya buang saya. So sebab tu termasuklah surat beranak saya, so sebab itulah saya tak boleh buat kad pengenalan. So saya memang keluar daripada institusi tu kosong lah. Tak ada apa-apa, tak ada kad pengenalan. Memang waktu tu saya memang tak boleh buat apa-apa. Saya tidur pun tepi-tepi jalan. Memang tak ada apa-apa lah saya tu, memang saya kosong lah.
Almost a week after living on the streets, Alia was approached by a man who said he knew about her situation. The man offered her a helping hand.
Dia boleh tolong saya buat kad pengenalan. Lepas dengar dia kata dia boleh tolong saya buat kad pengenalan tu, saya pun ikutlah dia. Lepas tu dia hantar saya masuk ke sebuah bilik hotel ni. Saya mahu duduk kat situ. Dia kata makanan, minum, semua tu, baju semua dia tolong tanggung lah. Saya cuma kena tolong dia bagi detail untuk proses kad pengenalan tu. Hari keesoknya tu dia mai lagi sekali. Dia minta saya ambil gambar. Waktu tu dia belilah baju tercantik. Dia kata okey, nak ambil baju ni, nak ambil gambar. So saya pun macam seronok lah kan sebab nak ambil gambar kad pengenalan kan. Lepas tu saya nak bagi balik baju tu. Dan dia kata dia suruh saya simpan baju tu. So saya pun tak fikir apa, saya pun ambil je lah baju tu.
The next day, the man visited her again. His gift for Alia this time was a piece of paper.
Dia bawa satu borang untuk buat kad pengenalan tu lah. Dia suruh saya isi tapi dengan bayaran. Dia suruh saya bayar RM100. Saya pun tak fikir apa-apa, saya pun bayar je lah RM100 tu. Lepas tu kemudiannya hari keesokannya tu dia mai sekali, dia bawa lagi borang. Time ni dia duk bawa borang tu, dia duk kata borang ni paling mahal sikit lah, saya kena bayar RM300. Sebab dia kata untuk kukuhkan lagi proses kad pengenalan saya tu. Time tu saya dah macam pelik dah sebenarnya sebab yelah duit simpanan pun dah makin kurang, dah makin kurang semua tu. So bila saya tanya, dia marah saya. Dia kata saya ni banyak tanyalah. Lepas tu dia suruh saya bersabar.
By the 4th week, the waiting game ended. Alia was sold off to a prostitution ring after the man siphoned all of her savings. She never got her identification card.
Sebab saya hutang dia. Saya kata saya hutang apa? Lepas tu dia kata apa tu? Dia tolong tanggung makanan, minuman, baju semua. So saya kena bayar balik. At first saya ingatkan saya kena bayar duit lah. Tapi dia kata saya kena ikut dia ke satu tempat ni. Tapi sebabkan saya rasa sangat takut tentu, so saya pun ikutlah dia dengan lelaki tu. Rupanya saya kena jual. Saya ingat lagi first job yang saya dapat. Saya jumpa dengan klien ni, dia mabukkan saya, dia paksa saya suruh minum semua tu sebab saya tak nak buatkan dengan dia. Lepas tu saya tak tahu apa jadi. Yang saya ingat lepas tu saya bangun memang saya seorang juga dalam bilik tu.
4 months on the job, Alia became pregnant. She tried to hide it for as long as she could, but her secret was eventually exposed when she was 5 months pregnant.
Bapa ayah tu suruh saya buang. So saya gugur kandungan tu. Saya memang tak mahu. tapi dia paksa saya dengan makan pil khayal. Waktu tu saya terpaksa makan pil tu, lepas tu saya bangun, saya memang sedap tak sedap. Saya nampak tangan kecil kena potong kerat-kerat macam tu lah dekat tempat tu. Lepas saya dah macam sedap sikit-sikit, saya nampak nurse dia cincang janin tu, memang dia cincang sampai lumat lah benda tu. Lepas tu dia masukkan dalam plastik hitam. Time saya nampak tu memang hati saya gemuk lah. Marah, sedih, semua ada. Tapi nak buat macam mana kan, benda dah jadi.
But no one was seriously looking into those who have to leave rumah kanak-kanak or rumah anak yatim when they reach 18 years old. In Malaysia, the protection for the institution to give tempat tinggal, perlindungan semua untuk these kanak-kanak yang tidak berwaris, anak yatim ataupun yang terabai ni hanya sampai umur 18 tahun. So when they reach 18 years old, they have to leave the institution. Pada masa ni, if they do not have any waris, they don't have any keluarga who would like to continue to guide, to take care of them, they really don't have place to go. So when they don't have place to go and they have to leave the institution and they have to get into a new environment of living and suddenly tiba-tiba kena independent, this is where they need help.
Annie manages a non-profit that operates a transit home for aged-out orphans. And from her observation, some orphans from government institutions lack social skills.
They are not exposed to so many things like communication, how to socialize with people, like how to talk to the adults, how to respect people. You'll be surprised if you visit the house, although they are 15, 16 or 14, their behavior is like those in 7, 8, 9 years old. It's very hard to get their focus when you talk to them, and they try to win your attentions like those still at the age of 7 to 10, but at that time they are already close to 17 or 18 because nobody like giving them a coach on how to have a positive personality, how to guide them, what they should do, what is responsible, what is their responsibility at least to themselves.
So if orphanages are not a viable solution, what are the alternatives?
We believe that children should be given opportunity to be raised in a loving care of a family. Therefore, I feel that orphanage or government institutions is not the best way to raise a child. Malaysia actually has, under the Ministry of Women, they have actually adopted a policy on family-based care to these children. That was done since 2006. However, there has not been much progress in making it happen. Of course, the policy is there, but we don't see much effort to really implement it. Most of the time, the children were kept there until they reach 18, and after 18, they were released to the society. That is where the children has got a lot of problems because their upbringing in institution is never the same with a child that is being brought up in a family.
A family-based care approach prioritizes the adoption of orphans, which means that upon entry, the government should quickly focus on matching orphans with potential adoptive parents.
Rather than they keep the child there until they reach 18 and then release to the public. And this has been done in many institutions in other countries. When we talk about the orphanage or Rumah Anak Yatim, for that matter, or institution elsewhere overseas, actually they are just a transit home where children are given for adoption or fostering. So in Malaysia, we haven't got a fostering system in place, but adoption can be done.
According to public records, there are only 15 children's homes that can only house a combined total of 1,510 children at a time. Due to the lack of facilities and manpower, the government has come up with a workaround that somehow contradicts family-based care approach. They outsource orphans to private orphanages and gives allowance to this institution to take care of the children.
The more orphans you keep at your orphanage, then your income will be more. So it in a way discourages these people from reintegrating back the children to their family. We have one policy here talking about family-based care. At the same time, what we are doing actually is in a way encouraging the orphanage to keep the children more and longer with them.
This arrangement is problematic because it essentially commodifies orphans and allows unscrupulous individuals to use these abandoned children as income generators. And the worst case scenario is that these orphans might also end up being abused.
Jadi ini bergantung pada individu masing-masing. Okey, saya boleh katakan bukan semua orang di Malaysia atau yang ada asrama ni yang buat salah. Adalah segelintir orang, itu bergantung pada individu masing-masing. Okey, so tak baiklah kalau buat benda-benda macam itu. Lebih baik buat kerja sendiri, jangan buat kerja kebajikan. Kalau you tak boleh jaga anak-anak ini dengan cara yang baik, ikut undang-undang, jangan buat. Sebab orang memandang, you kena ada hati. You ada duit ke, atau you berpelajaran tinggi ke, itu bukan sertifikat untuk you buat kebajikan. You kena ada hati, sesiapa sajalah. Kalau you ada hati, mereka boleh buat kebajikan. So the most important is, kita kena ada hati untuk menolong orang.
Back in Johor, Suhaida has finally sighed a breath of relief. After 5 years of applying, she now has her own identification card.
Saya rasa lega sangat sebab saya dapat buat benda yang saya tak boleh buat. Maksudnya kalau macam nak kerja, saya boleh bagi dia orang IC, saya boleh buat lesen kereta. Kalau nak pergi klinik, saya dah tak payah nak bayar sampai 100, 200. Saya dah boleh bayar RM1 macam tu. Sekarang pun saya rasa saya lebih confident. Macam kalau saya pergi mana-mana, benda yang paling saya takut kemalangan lah. Kemalangan kan, kalau kita tak ada apa-apa macam dokumen kan, orang tak boleh nak detect siapa budak ni. Dia accident tapi tak ada apa-apa identiti. Sebab sejujurnya masa saya belum ada IC, saya tak bawa satu dokumen pun keluar. Saya cuma bawa diri saya je.
Alia, on the other hand, has accepted her unfortunate fate.
Lepas saya kena gugur tu, saya dah okey sikit dan saya cuba untuk lari. Saya cuba untuk lari daripada bapa ayam tu lah, tapi terkantoi. Lepas tu dia kata kat saya, dia ugut lah saya macam-macam. Dia kata saya tak boleh lari. Dia bagi saya kebebasan tapi saya tak boleh lari sebab saya ni hak dia. Dia kata tak guna pun kalau saya pergi kat polis ke apa ke, sebab orang yang dekat dalam semua kenal dia. Lepas tu sebagai pengajaran, dia cabut kuku kaki saya untuk sebagai apa tu panggil, dia nak tunjuklah yang saya ni hak dia dan ni pengajaran kalau saya lari. Saya dah memang terimalah ni takdir hidup saya.